Yo, 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 yo. All right, let's get that timer started. This song is very cool in the sense that it's very, 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 very short. It's just a little weird thing that I made up. We've got a little, like 4-bar build here, something ridiculous like that. And then it's just this one synth and one sub. That's it. Synth and sub. That's it. And then it ends. So this should be a relatively quick and easy mix down. Well, whilst I am setting up, let's have a listen to this. I'm going to also need to position my headphones. Again, no, I think it's close enough to being in the middle. So yeah, have a listen, see what you think, see if you like it, and then we're going to do a mix down. Okay, well, that's it. It's a bit of a weird one, I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, hold up one sec. I need to rearrange my day a little bit, yeah? So I've got some stuff that I need to do. 7:30, then I'm working at that time. Well, whilst I'm doing this, I'll let this loop. I'll let this loop for you. How generous of me to let you listen to this thing over and over and over again and listen to nothing else. How generous of me. How much. How nice of me to do this for you. It's not a nice thing. I'm sorry about this. Oh, it's got a quick master on it, which would make sense considering, you know, considering there's nothing else to it. But yeah, we don't want a quick master on that. Yeah, very, very, very simple. Very, 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 very simple song. Let's see if I can make it look aesthetically more pleasing. So we don't need trigger visible in the slightest. Let's make kick a little smaller, let's make snare a little smaller, let's make hi-hats a little smaller. This we don't need at all. Synth is visible, it's just really small, it's right at the top, and that's right at the bottom. If I make it bigger, then we can see it a little better. There we go. And we could literally just do that. Right there. It's already got roughly a pink noise situation going on, which is good. I'm not listening to that shit. I want to keep my ears relatively fresh for this mix down, but we'll see. Sorry, just doing the story. Stream schedule story. Stream schedule UK time. /. 7:30 AM. Mix down and mastering live. Mix down and mastering live. And the next thing, if there is another thing, 1 PM. I need to eat. No, I can eat. I can eat later. Vegan dubstep. Let's maybe do that at 2 PM. And at 1 PM. Reacting to dubstep memes. Question mark. Live. I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe try it. There we go. There we go. My story. Bang. Everybody's happy. Okay, sorry about the wait there, team. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, all of these are different, right? Yeah, it's one freeze, but they are different sounds, yeah? Even this is different. So what we're going to do is we're going to open, and separate these into different sounds, right? Sorry, it's Muzu just going at me. Only present on 4 bars. I mean, there is a problem with the region the perks are playing throughout the whole length of the track, correct? Also, when they shouldn't look at the audio region, they play past the end of the song. Yeah, I saw. I trimmed it. Lol. Must be the... What's that called? Hey, what up, Juliet? Juliet, sorry, I just... What's that fucking up? Up, maybe. Okay, whatever. All right. So, because because these are one synth, but they're all different sounds, we're going to separate these into different regions, right? We're going to copy it so that we've got the original, and we can see that these are all different sounds. Actually, they look exactly the same, but they are different sounds. Yeah. Are you streaming for fun, or is it your profession? I suppose both. I suppose both. Do you produce? Are you a producer, Julietta Laura? So we can leave the sub as is because the sub is exactly where it should be. That's this thing down here, doing little bits of bass. This is fine. We could maybe have a little zoom in there, fade in. Yeah, but we could also just start it sharp. Start it sharp, that's fine. Yeah, it's not an issue if we start it sharp. Check the ducking. Let's do it onto infinite ratio. Check the kick and snare. We can see that this kick is too long and that's what's causing that ducking issue. Bro, are you new streamer? I am a new streamer. Yeah. Streamer? Isn't a streamer... Hang on. What's a streamer? I swear a streamer is like that thing in gardening. Hang on. A strimer even. Yeah, bro. This is a strimer. I'm not a strimer. I am not a strimer. I am a streamer. Look, there's me. That's not me. I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. This is me. Yeah, this is not me either. All right, let's back to this. All right, well, look, the kick and the snare. Juliet, I'm sure you're aware, we're getting too much ducking, so I'm going to trim this fat all the way back down to there, and then join that together. So that's going to be much cleaner than it was before, and we can compare it. Much better compared to this. Too much delay there. Bro, how is your streaming experience going? It's going good. I really quite enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. To be honest with you, I'm just doing my normal day-to-day stuff whilst live. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it quite a lot because I get to help a lot of people as well. That's something that I really quite enjoy. From my previous streams of like song feedback, people, you know, they're appreciative, and I get to help a lot of people with their mix downs, and give constructive feedback to help people improve their songs. It's in total just making the production of songs in the world better, which is awesome. And I get to help people with their mix down and mastering with these sort of tutorials things as well. And I get lovely people such as you, Juliet, keeping me company, which is really, really nice as well. So yeah, no, streaming is fucking awesome. Do you stream? I'll cut that there and cause that to go there and boost that all the way up. And we'll boost this all the way up. And this isn't making sound, so there's no boosting actually. It's just making sure that the audio cuts completely thing. Can I ask you one thing? If you think about it, Juliet, if you think about it, you've already asked me that one thing. But go ahead. And if you're going to try to sell me something, just know, please don't. Please don't. Please. Yeah, this is so much cleaner though. Why you didn't customize your channel yet? Like by adding some cool stuff on it. What do you mean? Look. Dribbling a bit. This is cool stuff. I don't need cool stuff. I get it. Correct me if I'm wrong. You create graphics for streamers to use. I appreciate the rapport that you've built with me for the sales pitch, Juliet. I'm not interested if this is your sales pitch. Even if it's not your sales pitch, I'm not interested. Thank you though. And I mean that thank you sincerely, because I know you're offering a service that you are actually, you believe is helpful for the greater of mankind. So thank you. But I'm not interested. Like customized logo, banner, panels, and overlay stuff. Yeah, I know what you mean. No, thank you. I think it would, look, already, the screen that you're seeing here is already quite small, unless you like full screen it, but then you can't chat, right? So if I made this smaller with more overlays, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, right? And then I don't want more things to be covering up the screen. Even me being here covers up the screen a bit too much. It doesn't make visual... In this case, in this instance, I feel it's visually better for the viewer if there isn't too much clutter going on. In my opinion. I've only thought of that now, to be honest. Juliet, tell me, how long have you been designing for? Juliet, are you still here? Suppose not. That's okay, and it does make sense. Uh-oh, so I've gotten rid of... Oh, no, there's drum sound. Oh, wait, it's here. Okay, we don't need that. Cool, there we go. That's much better kick and snare. Because it just makes it a little more clean. Now, you know that I don't want to be doing any sort of compositional changes here. Yeah? Yeah, we could have some ear candy here. Before it moves on to the next section. We're not going to do it though. Do you stream daily or any specific schedule? No. No, I suppose not. I don't stream on Sundays, but I stream almost any other day, except for rest days. I don't stream on rest days, and I have rest days. At current, I have rest days every 2 weeks. But otherwise, yeah, I would stream daily, not Sundays, not on rest days. So in any 2 weeks, I don't stream on 2 Sundays and 1 rest day. So I stream 11 out of 14 days, whatever that is in percentage-wise. And schedule? No. I do release my daily schedule on Instagram story so that followers can know when I'm streaming, UK time. But I have to do it daily because, days change and I'm not getting paid from Twitch. And so if there's better financial opportunities around, generally I'm going to be going towards that because fast money is better than slow money when you can use the fast money for slow money anyway, later on. Actually, should I say fast money is better than no money? I would say this is slow money, to be honest, because it's just a matter of time more than anything. Because my viewership is going up, I am learning plenty. It makes your channel looks cool and attractive. Also, it helps you to grow your channel very well. Juliet, I'm under the impression you're not actually listening to what I'm saying at all. This is my impression. Julia, are you listening to what I'm saying or not? Because I think you're just in your sales pitch copy and pasting from something probably sending it to multiple streamers at the same time. Okay, so this is seemingly so far quite decent. We've got it literally as loud as we can get it. The kick's as loud as we can get it. There's not much change here. What we could do, we can see we've got some space here from the hi-hats. We can make some space for the hi-hats here. And this is a bit of a whack one, but we're literally just going to cut to there-ish. And this is going to, because without this EQ, you can see that this is not boosted. This is not, hang on, let me turn down your volume a smidgen. This is not going over the line here, yeah? There's no red here. As soon as we turn this on, I'm sure. Oh, good. We're still not getting red. Okay, I was absolutely wrong. That's perfect. So we're still not getting red. How do I... Okay, I need to fucking work out how to remove these bots, man. Yeah, that's fine. Bye, Juliet. All right. I'm so certain that they're just making new accounts. Like, who says bro if your name is Juliet? You know what I mean? That's not a bro name. Your name's got to be Magnus or some shit. By the way, Magnus is such a fucking cool name. Magnus Carlsen deserves to be #1 chess player because of his name being Magnus. But anyway, we're taking out the extreme high end so that the hi-hats can pierce through the mix a lot more. And we can hear that evidently by turning off and on this here thing, EQ. So without it, with it. It's not that bad. What we could do is have a little bit of ducking. Just a little bit of ducking where the hi-hats sit. So let's have a listen to these hi-hats. And we're going to take this and we're going to make it very fine. And we're going to move it around in the space and try to find which frequencies are piercing through the mix the most. And for ease, let's just have just the hi-hats looping, man. Good God. Could be around here. To be honest, you can even see it from here. It's relatively flat. We can go with any of those frequencies, yeah? So from anywhere from about 7 kilohertz up to, call it here, 14.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, we could literally just have this ducking like that. Not too much, 3 decibels is a lot, and it's a relatively wide, so we'll make that smaller. Right there is, oh, it's 7 hertz is there, 7 kilohertz is there, so we're going to have it there. Well, we'll have it there we go. And yeah, there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a modulator, we're going to get envelope follower, so that means that every time this is making a sound, this is being activated. So we're going to map this onto the gain here, so we're going to go to, when it happens, this is what's happening. Yeah, so every time it's making a sound, it goes to this, right? There's no sound coming out right now because it's muted, but there we go. You can see it's boosted every time it makes a sound. That's not what we want, right? Because we want this to be following the hi-hats, because we want it to not go up to 100, but we want it going down to maybe 41. Unfortunately, we can only do it in percentages, but we want to see where we want to get it to. We want it to go down. Let's increase the gain here. We want it to go down to 3 decibels, because it's going down to 2.7, which is very, 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 very close. Let's call it 40, see if we can get 3. There we go, 3 decibels on the fucking dot. Let's drag this onto hi-hats, and that means every time this hi-hat is hitting, it's ducking. Bang. It's subtle. It is quick. And that's because this is so sharp. So let's just blast that gain, and that's going to cause it to be happening plenty. Barely noticeable. Let's have a listen if we can listen to it. We'll do it before and after. This is with it, without it, with it, without it. It's subtle. I can hear it. Now let's do it again with the hi-hats involved. Without it, with it. It brings the hi-hat slightly more throughout the mix, but only slightly, I must admit. Let's see if we can bring this percentage down. So right now it's at 3 decibels. We can bring this down and see where we get to. That's a lot of ducking now. But it works, right? Without it? With it. It feels like we've just boosted the volume of the hi-hats, but we haven't. We have instead taken away the frequency from another thing. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of a clean mixdown, baby. You don't need to increase volumes. You don't need to increase volumes around here. You just need to decrease frequencies and decrease volumes. As they say, production is reduction. Sorry, I didn't mean to burp. Production is reduction. All right, it could have been reduction is production. I don't know. I can't. All right, let's get back into it. So we've made the hi-hats nice and clear through the mix now, which is great. Let's now check. I'm going to turn off the sub. Let's make sure there's no sub-bass frequencies. There is a little bit. We can clear that up. We can clear that up, and I think it might be worth clearing that up. So we're going to leave this first one because that can have sub-frequencies. That doesn't matter because it's not layered with a sub-bass. But all of these shouldn't have sub-frequencies. So I'm going to call this no sub, right? And we're going to get a fresh EQ, unfortunately, because we can't. Okay, I'm just going to call this 1. I'm going to call this 2, and I'm going to call this 3. I'm going to call this intro, and I'm going to call this outro. There we go. Everything's named. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to command save. And let's get some EQing up in this business, right? EQ8, put it on the no sub. We could just call this bass, actually. There we go. And we're going to open this up so that you can see it a little better, right? I'm going to put on ×4 low cut. And then bring it over here. I'm going to bring this down. We could bring this down a smidgen, and that'll allow us to really boost the volume if we wanted to, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to bring this over maybe here-ish. The reason I've got it so low down in the frequency spectrum is that because it's so sharp, it's going to be creating a resonant peak, resonant frequency here, right? I don't want that resonant frequency that it's creating to be adding into this. This is already quite a big peak. So that's what I'm thinking. We could duck this, have a little bit of fun with that. This is absolutely an area that we could boost, though. If we wanted to. We could absolutely boost that. It's not an issue in terms of frequency spacing. But we could duck it and it just makes it feel a lot cleaner. But that's 500 hertz for you. 500 hertz is just disgusting. Nobody likes listening to 500 hertz. Let's explore some other frequencies. This is the main frequency, which makes sense because that's 2K hertz. 2K to 3K hertz is our most sensitive hearing area. So it makes sense that that's sticking out. And we've got this as well, which makes sense as well. We could sharpen that up, see what happens. It's a weird sound. But you see, by just adding this EQ, we're reaching reds now. That's what happens. All I wanted to do was clean it up. Alright. I got it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got to keep it like this. With the tempo changing here, we gotta keep it like that, unfortunately. The reason we got to keep it like that is because it's following the rhythm of the synth. To a T. Okay, that's fine. Because we should, in theory, be able to get more out of this song because we've done this low cut here. But that's just a theory. Your boy's tired. Your boy's tired. Hey, come down here, man. Come down here. I'm slouched in my chair. You can slouch in the chair with me. Come on. All right. I'll be honest with you. I think the mix down's done. Everything is as loud as it can be. We could probably boost the kick a bit. That kick is so soft in general. Go on then. Let's add a saturator onto that. Find the absolute limit and then just dial it down. The reason we're doing that is so that we can identify with our ears exactly what frequencies is what it sounds like when it's distorted, when it's got too much saturation, then we can dial it down. And we're going to put this on the snare now. And the reason we can do this quite comfortably and really boost the frequencies of the kick and the snare is that we've got this ducking here. We've got a full sidechain compression of infinite threshold, infinite ratio. That means every time the kick is happening, every time the snare is happening, there is no sound at all from any of the synths. There is a little bit of the hi-hats, but even the hi-hats are heavily ducked down to minus 19 decibels, which is a shit ton. So we can really push the limits of these kick and snares because it's essentially just playing on its own when it's playing. So we're going to go all the way up. We can hear it's very distorted here, and then we just dial it down. Literally about there is fine. Mud. And turn off the S, the solo, turn that off. Is there a shortcut for this? Let's have a look see. Command Shift F, brother. You think I'm gonna remember that? All right, let's go. Okay, I think it's about time I buy a plugin that has a pink noise on it. So apparently, Slick EQM by TDR, TDR Slick EQM has a pink noise function. Let's go ahead and really quick, let's just explore that. TDR pink noise EQM. I'm just combining words. Slick EQM. Okay. Slick EQM. Let's check this out. And for this video, for me not to get banned on YouTube, I'm going to need to keep pausing this every now and then and keep it educational, okay? So let's do that.
Provides 6 band plus an elliptical filter for equal provides power.
So what I'm looking for is a line that shows the pink noise. So this is a meta filter. This has got a lot of extra stuff. This is cut the crap. I feel like it's got a lot of extra stuff that I don't really care about or need.
Mode. This controls a very linear tilt filter, allowing you to gently lift the highs while dipping the lows.
Okay, that is cool, to be fair. Just got recommended this live stream. Interesting, Modster. I wonder why. I've never made a track so far that I would start to master it, but the mixing part is more interesting. Won't have time to watch all of it today, though. Brother, I've literally just done... I finished the mix. Well, look. For you, Modster, I'll keep doing the mix down here, yeah? I'll carry on with the mix down, all right? Because I do care about you. All right, so I'll give you a little tipperoonie here, which not many people are going to be talking about, right? If you mix down your entire track to the sound of pink noise, it's going to sound good, right? Pink noise, generally speaking, that's pink noise. It's got good tonal balance, right? So if we solo it and look at it on the EQ, we can see pink noise. It's got that perfect slope down. It's got the same amount of energy per octave. That's what pink noise is. Same amount of energy per octave. So this is, I suppose, this one octave because it's one little slope. We've got another bump, another bump, another bump. All of these are little octaves, right? We could probably tell because over here we can see the frequencies. And so if we go from here, that's A7, all the way up to here, which is... Okay, no, that's not a frequency. Oh wow, we've just got semitones now written as numbers. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so yeah, to here is one octave. Okay, anyway, yeah. Each octave has the same amount of energy. That was the first time I tested that out. That's cool. And with that in mind, it's just a really pleasing way to balance your shit to. So we're going to leave this at 0 decibels and we're going to get this sound in line with that. So we can see over here is the loudest part of the sound. We can see over here, this is the loudest part of the sound. It would be this a lot of the time, but right now it's this. So we're going to be making this go in line with that pink noise. We can see this peeking through, so we're just going to bring that volume down. Bring it down, 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 until it's not peeking through anymore, and there we go. It's sitting slightly above it. Normally I would give it more attention, but I'm going to be honest with you, Modster, I don't think you'll hear anymore. So next up, we're going to do the kick. So I'm going to, just for ease, we're going to turn off literally everything else, and we're going to listen to just the kick and the pink noise. Let's go. We can see the kick boosting, punching through the mix there. We're just going to drag it down. Drag it down, until it's no longer punching through the mix. Now, we don't need to do this with pink noise. I am here. That's great, Monsters, because well, that's great. I'm glad, because I'm glad. I want to get this plugin, which allows us to have pink noise curve already on the analyzer without needing to listen to it the entire time. And that's why I'm watching this video, to sort of learn how to do it. And then I'm going to buy it, right? let's move on to the snare. So we've got the kick and the snare. Can't be heard yet, but now it can. We can see it's peeking out through the mix here. We want to bring this down so it's in line with that pink noise. We're just bringing it down. Bringing it down to about there. There we go. It's peeking through a little bit. And the reason we want to allow the kick and the snare to peek through that pink noise just a little bit, maybe a decibel more than everything else, is because we always want the kick and the snare to be the punchiest part of the mix. We don't want, generally speaking, everything is generally speaking because, you know, no hard and fast rules in music, baby. But generally speaking, we don't want the kick and the snare to be quieter than the synths. We need the kick and the snare to be the loudest part of it. Maybe if you're making rock music or other sort of genres, you know, but dubstep, electronic music, EDM in general, the kick, the snare, the drums are the most powerful, punchiest part of the song. We need that to be punching through the mix. So we need that slightly louder than everything else. After that would be the vocals. We want the vocals next in loudness, and then it becomes everything else, the synths and whatnot. So now we've got the hi-hats. We can also make that punchy through the mix, but we don't want to do it too much because that hi-hats can get a bit annoying. So we can see it just slightly over here. We're going to bring that down. Dial it down, dial it down, dial it down, dial it down. And before you were here, I did some extra mix sound stuff that I'm going to very quickly go through after I've done the pink noise thing. The good thing about this for you is that this whole song is just one synth and one sub bass. I've separated the synth into 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks just because they sound different throughout it because I've got a shit ton of automation on it. Yeah, you know, on this one synth. That's why I'm able to do a whole song with one synth, right? I will break down exactly what I did because we've got some extra fun stuff going on different tracks to make it stick through the mix a little more, right, without needing to increase volume. So now we're going to move on to this. This is a really simple synth. It's just a... Hang on, let's turn on the duck so you can actually hear it. So the kick, the snare, the hi-hats are exactly where we want it to be. This is the synth that we're looking at next. Right? And you can see here, it's got a varied bit of information here. And as we move through the synth, we can see it sort of... It sounds different, but the frequencies and whatnot, they're not changing too much. This looks like it's going to be the biggest peak that we're working with, but perhaps not. You've got to remember we're working with a curve, so it might be this being the biggest peak or one of these frequencies here, right? So a good idea would be to find where the peak is the loudest and then work with that so it's not too loud anywhere else. But just for ease and speed, we're just going to pretend that this beginning part is the loudest, and we're just going to start with just that. So I'm going to unsolo that, and we're going to be playing it. We can see the peaks here. Hang on, let's loop it again. And the problem is we've got the sub playing at the same time, so I'm going to turn off that sub. There we go. So I was right. So the peaks aren't over here, but they're over here and over here. This isn't the hi-hats, this is that synth. So we're just going to dial that down. Dial it down, dial it down. Right there we go. And we're going to check this, make sure there's no plugins on here. We've just got a low cut, that's completely fine. And this might need to be the exact same volume as this, right? The reason being, we can see I've maxed this out right to the fucking limit, right? Same as this. And it is, of course, the exact same synth that I've got over here. I've just done a shit ton of automation on it. But as a result, it's going to sound very, very, very different. And as a result, we need to treat it differently, right? So it might need to be a different volume. So this is the frequency we're looking at. Let's play it. Once again, we've got frequency peaks over here, here, and here. A little bit over here as well. And we're just going to dial it down until those peaks are in line. About there is good. It's peaking out a little bit. It's okay. As long as it's perceived to the listener roughly the same, then it's fine, right? And we're going to be checking it after the pink noise as well. What time is it there? It is 8:18 a.m. What time is it over there where you're at? Where are you, bro? What's your house address? I'm just kidding. You don't have to tell me, but if you wanted to, you're absolutely welcome to do so. So this is the next synth, and so we're probably looking at a big peak over here. In context, there we go. Yeah, we got some extra fizzly bits up there as well. So we just dial that down, dial it down. And there we go. That's about good. And we've got minus 17, and this one's even different. So you can see we've got different volumes despite them all being the same synth. But we're going to listen to it later with the pink noise to make sure everything is fitting exactly where it needs to be. Yeah? Mojta says, what an interesting way to do things with this pink noise. Oh yeah, I've never seen that. Can't wait to see the whole video from the start. Brother, I do these streams almost every single day at this time. So if you're ever around, feel free to come down and watch these streams because I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have as well, yeah? I just started FL, the channel rack confuses me. Gotcha. I don't know FL, I've never used it. I'm a Logic guy, so we've got Logic and Ableton. They're my two, and let me say, Logic fucking sucks, man. I grew up with Logic. I used Logic for like almost 15 years. I've got to tell you, Logic fucking sucks, man. As soon as I moved over to Ableton, I was like, the grass is greener. The grass is greener. So we're going to loop this. This is just the sub, and we know it's the sub. We're going to have just frequencies down here in the sub frequency region. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. Nice warm sub. And so I'm just going to unsolo it. You can see the peak right there. We're just going to dial that down, and that looks like we could probably keep it roughly peaking through the mix a little bit. About there. I'm playing it a little less safe with the sub. We can always dial it down later on in the mixdown process. And then the final piece of this puzzle is this, which we'll just loop. Very nice sound. We've got peaks over here now, and we just dial that down. Dial it down, dial it down, dial it down, dial it down. Bang. There we go. So pink noise is done, and this is a really quick way of doing it, but you've got to remember this is a really quick song. I mean, this is like a minute long, less than a minute long maybe. It says that there's 15 tracks, there isn't, because these 3 tracks are the same thing, as is this. So that's actually 5, because this is a group, all from the same thing, and this outro is also from that as well. So technically there's just a sub and a synth, and then a kick, snare, and hi-hat. So 5 synths in total to make this really quick song, but it's perfect for a quick demonstration of a mixdown. So this is what we got. I'm going to dial up your volume so that you can hear it. I'm hoping it's not going to be too loud for you, but if it is, I can always just adjust it. And I'm going to be judging these levels as we go along to make sure everything is fitting exactly where we want. And I'll keep this equalizer here so you've got something fun to watch, because I care about your viewing experience. So to me, the synth is perhaps a little too quiet, and the hi-hats are a little too loud. So I'm going to keep this volume because that's a build-up. We want that to be relatively quiet anyway, so that's completely fine. So I'm going to be just adjusting some volume as we go along, mainly the hi-hats and the synths. Now, one thing that I do want to show you is over here, we've got a little ducking here. And I did already speak about this, so if you're rewatching this video, just skip ahead. I looked for the exact frequency where the hi-hats are peaking. We can see this is a whole range, right? It's from here to here. There's no exact peak. It's from here to here, 7K to 14K roughly, right? And so I made it so that every time the hi-hats are hitting, everything in this duck channel, which is already ducking under the kick and the snare to give more room for the kick and the snare. So that's the outro, the sub, the 3, 2, 1, and the intro. Every single thing is ducking underneath the hi-hats at this frequency. So you can see this frequency is being ducked every time the hi-hats come. And so we can compare before and after, and you'll be able to hear the hi-hats much more clearly as a result. Without increasing the volume of the hi-hats, the perceived volume of the hi-hats has been increased simply by reducing the volume of frequencies elsewhere, and that's all it is. Production is reduction. You want to reduce volumes, reduce frequencies to give everything else more space, just like we've got sidechain compression of the volume to make the kick and the snare perceived more loud without making the kick and the snare more loud. There's no need for it. So this is the synth without this hi-hat ducking, and then with hi-hat ducking. It just feels more loud. It sounds like maybe an extra 2 to 3 decibels, which came out of fucking nowhere. And it has not affected the synths perception in the slightest because it comes back to normal immediately after. I did that with an envelope follower if you're using Ableton. So let's adjust these volumes now. And we're gonna have this up. We can see, look, this is clearly, it's slightly too loud. And now we can boost this up. About there might be fine. Let's keep it moving. So we're gonna force feed it over here so that I can see the transition from here to here, see if there is a dramatic volume difference perceived. That's fine. And from here. And it might feel really quite quiet, and that's a-okay because we've got the mastering still to go, baby. We've got the mastering still to go. Now these hi-hats, it's not sitting in the mix very nicely, and I think I know exactly what we need. We just need a little bit of reverb. So let's just chuck on some reverb, and we want to make sure that this reverb is, of course, before this compressor, right? So that the reverb that's after the hi-hats is also getting compressed underneath the kick and the snare. So let's just solo it. Remove that high cut, have a little low cut, because look, we've got low energy, we've got low fucking, get that information out of here. We don't want any sub-frequency information on our hi-hats, because what the fuck is that? If we completely remove it, as much as we can, we can't really completely remove it, but if we remove it as much as we can, that allows our sub to have more space and more room to breathe, less distortion. We're able to push it even further in the mix and make it even louder in the end zone, and that's what it's all about. I'm happy with that reverb. It's simple, it's effective, it does the job. All right, so let's call it here. Let's pretend, and I'm happy to pretend that we are done with the mix down. Because I've got to go in 4 minutes. So let's go ahead. So we've got a quick master here. I'm just going to go through what the quick master is, and then I'm going to do my perfect master. But I'm going to do my perfect master very quickly. So if you did want to do a quick master, I've got a multi-band compressor on here, right? Multi-band compressor just to balance out the frequencies if the mixdown had some issues. And then we can change the depths to find a good midpoint. But this mixdown should be okay-ish. Then I've got a limiter just in case to tame the peaks. And then I've got this EQ that is ducking the lows by 10 freaking decibels. And then I've got a clipper boosting it as much as I can before I get distortion. And it's a soft clipper, yeah? 100% soft clipper. This is a free clipper, by the way. Really good clipper if you want to grab it. K-Clip 0, amazing, amazing by Kazrock. And then boosted those exact lows that we ducked out by 10 decibels. And then we've got a hard clipper on the whole thing. 23% soften, hard clipper on the whole thing to push it to its absolute limit. That's a quick way of doing a master. Let's have a listen to that. Now, I've not adjusted the volumes and whatnot. I can hear a little bit of distortion on that kick. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if you were in an absolute pinch, you can absolutely do that, I suppose. Don't recommend it though. Now we're going to do the perfect master. This is something that I really, really, really quite like. I'm going to do it really, really, really quite fast, okay? So it's not going to be absolutely perfect because I want to go in 4 minutes, right? So first things first, we've got this compressor and it is on infinite ratio. It is a limiter at this point, and we want minus 0.3 decibels of gain reduction. So we're going to firstly, and this is going to take a little bit of time, I'm going to open up the plugins. I'm going to go to AU Round Trip, which is an Apple plugin, but I'm sure you've got any sort of alternative at your disposal. I'm going to turn off this entire perfect master. There is no plugins playing on the master right now. We're going to listen to the whole song, and I'm going to try to find the loudest part of the song. And when I say loudest, I mean sample source loudest, not encoded, not into sample, but sample source loudest. So whilst that's going, I'm just looking for where it peaks, right? Right away it peaked in the beginning. and now it's peaked again. So I'm going to loop that part. And so wherever it is peaking, that's the part that we're going to be looping for the rest of the mastering process. So now that is the new peak, right? So I'm going to loop that and get that ready. The reason we're doing this is because when we're doing the mastering process, we want to be looping the loudest part, because if we can push the loudest part to the absolute limit before distortion, or rather before too much distortion that we don't like, then that means we can push everything else. So this is now the new loudest part. That means that we can push everything else, everything that is quieter, to that same limit, and there won't be any distortion anywhere else in the track. So we want to be pushing the loudest part, not the quietest part, not a random part, but the loudest part. If we do a random part, then the loudest part will have distortion because we pushed the random part to the absolute limit, but the loudest part is now gone past its limit. It's going to be too distorted. We don't want that if we can avoid it, right? So this is the loudest part so far, and this is the last synth, so I don't think there's going to be any louder parts after here. So I'm just going to stop it right now just because I know this track really quite well. So we're going to loop this specific part right here, which is apparently the loudest part. How exhilarating. So I can turn off this round trip. Again, it does do nothing in terms of affecting the sounds though. So now we've got this compressor. We've got this infinite ratio limiter. We're going to limit the minus 0.3 decibels of gain reduction. So let's have a listen. We can see right now we've got 0.08, 0.03. It's too little. So we're going to dial this down. We're dialing it down until we get 0.3. 0.1, we've got 0.2, 0.1, 0.2. Dial it down more. So 0.23, 0.3. There we go. I'm going to let go now. 0.41, it's too much. We're going to dial it back up again. Try to find that perfect balance. 0.46, I don't want that. 0.41, I don't want that. 0.4, I don't want that. I'm going to put it, leave it there. 0.31, 0.3, 0.3, 0.31. Perfect, that's the absolute limit. That's exactly what we want. Next up, we've got this EQ. We're cutting out here, we're cutting out the extreme low. So that's 18 hertz down, and above it is 17 kilohertz up. And then on top of it, we've got a nice little shimmer. We've got a nice little, at 2.5, we've got a high shelf, 0.5 decibels. Slight boost to the high. So I'm going to play it before and after of this. Without it. And with it. Slight boost on the high end, but by removing this low, extreme low end that we cannot perceive, and extreme this high end that we also cannot perceive, it's allowing us to push it more later on in the mix. Reduction is production. I can't remember if it's production or reduction. But anyway, next up, we've got this nice fur compressor, right? It's a really good compressor. It does exactly what I need it to do without too much coloration, or rather coloration that I can deal with, right? We want to get around 3 decibels of gain reduction. I'm happy with the ratio. I'm happy with the attack time. I'm happy with the release time. I'm happy with everything here. We're going to just adjust just the threshold until we get 3 decibels of gain reduction, and that's this line right here. So that is really close. We can hear that it's the snare that's peaking. We can do a little more compression, and right there, we just leave it there. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. So without and with. Slightly quieter. Now we've got Bastos. This is a free plugin, also an alternative to Soothe 2. It does pretty much the same thing as Soothe 2. It finds the resonant frequencies that are harsh in the mix, ducks them down, soothes it out, right? So if I turn it all the way up, that's what it sounds like, and all the way down. So this is off, on, right? Obviously, on is 100% wet is too much. We're going to slowly dial it down and find where we like it. And we're going to try different times here, yeah? And the reason why we want to be doing this is because any harsh frequencies that are piercing through the mix, as we get it louder, that shit's going to distort. That's the first thing to distort when we push things through, yeah? When we push it to its limit. So we want to reduce those down before it becomes a problem, and that's exactly what this stage is doing. And if we press here, we can hear exactly what it's removing. That's what's being removed. And this is it. So we're finding it. It's a very weird synth. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, so without And width. Still too much, let's dial it down. It could be that there's just not much element, so I don't need too much. So this is without. And with. That's a little better. There we go. And next up, we've got Hornet 31 Mark II. So I think this is 31. I've never counted it, but I'm going to assume it's 31 different frequencies where it is actively bringing the volume up and down. Again, it's a free plugin, really, really, really good. It's essentially 31 multi-band, almost like compression, right? It's actually volume control, but it's almost like it's like active EQing, right? So this is 100%. So any too loud frequencies, it just brings it down, right? And it takes 0.25 seconds to do that, yeah? And then this is it off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to dial it in and get it to where we want it to be. I'm going to put it all the way to 100% and dial it down to where we want it. There we go. What I do like about it, it does give it quite a lot of movement, which if you've got a very static song, especially with the compressors and whatnot that you've already put on there, it can make it even more static. This gives that song a lot more movement once again. But this song's got a lot of movement already, so it's a bit of a weird one. So without it, and with it. Okay, great. Next up, we've got K-Clip 0. Again, free plugin, really, really good. We're going to use a hard clipper. We're just going to boost it until it is just about to touch the top. This is almost just volume increasing. That's almost all we're doing here. If we're clipping a little bit, it is what it is. We're going to try to avoid it. We're going to try to just do volume control because we're going to be doing clipping or limiting over here instead, okay? So let's go. So we can see it's very, very quiet. I'm going to be bringing the volume up. So I'm going to bring down your volume first because this is where it's about to get really quite loud for you, okay? So I'm going to turn down your volume quite a lot. I'm going to turn down my volume quite a lot, and now we're going to boost the volume. We're doing this pretty much completely visually. We can see right here, we're really, really getting close to the top. We're going to, even there, we are touching the top. Keep in mind, this is looping. This should be the exact same each time. It's not though. Shit happens. We're going to leave it there. Without the K-clip. With. Everyone can hear that, yeah? Next up, we're going to be doing, once again, minus 0.3 decibels of gain reduction. Let's go. That's 0.5 is too much. 0.1, too little. 0.16, 0.15, 0.16. 0.3, there it is, I'm going to let go. 0.24, 0.25, 0.30, perfect. So without, and with. Very, 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 very subtle. Very, very subtle. Okay, next up we've got master plan. And normally what I like to do before I go on to master plan is chuck on a utility so that we can go into mono. The reason I go into mono is so that I can hear all the frequencies in one place and really push it to its limit that way. So I'm going to turn on Unity. This is a fantastic, fantastic plugin. It's perfect for mastering, and it is not free though. But it is really worth it. It is a fantastic, fantastic plugin. I'm going to leave the lows. I'm going to leave the highs until last. I'm going to start with down here, okay? So start with thickening. This is just going to increase saturation. If you listen to the low mids, you might be able to hear it a little better. With. Without. And by the way, what Unity does is no matter how much we turn up this volume, it's going to make the perceived volume the same amount. So if, say, I turn it up by 22 decibels here, it's going to take the output and bring that down 22 decibels so that it's not too loud for us. And we can hear very clearly the distortion without it just getting louder in our ears. And then when we turn it off, then that's going to be the actual finished result. I don't want too much distortion. Have it about there. Clean is in the low mids mainly. It's not bad, but I don't want too much because it's going to make the low mids a bit empty. And I'll be honest, this is the most subtle dial. Next is smooth, it's just a bit of compression around the whole thing. Oh, next is multiband, but we don't need it. With. Without. It's just gentle compression. It does the same thing as this compressor did here, this one, yeah? Next is calm. This does the same thing as the Vasthaus, essentially. It soothes, right? It calms the harshness frequencies. Without. With. So we're just going to dial it down to where we have it at a reasonable level. Look, I'm 10 minutes late. Let's go through this quick. And tape saturation. Tight bass, warm bass. So just listen to the warmth of the bass, you'll be able to feel it much better. Depends on the track how tight you want that bass. For this track, I want it quite tight. Next up, we're going to do the loudness, and then we'll do the low and the highs. So I'm going to turn the loudness all the way up, and it's not super loud, but that's because Unity's on, yeah? But we can hear the distortion very clearly this way, and then we're going to dial it down as a result. Let's do it from here. The reason we're doing it there is because we can hear the distortion nice and clearly there, and I'm just going to dial it down until we can't hear that distortion, or rather, it's at a more reasonable level. That's the absolute limit right there, and we're probably going to fuck around with the highs and the lows over here. So let's, for funsies, because we've already got the loudness where we want it, we're going to turn the high all the way up and then dial it down to where we want it. Okay, Mochster, thanks for coming down. Hope to see you tomorrow or in any of my other streams. Have a nice rest of your day, big dog. So by reducing the lows, we're able to bring the loudness higher up. So that's a nice relationship that we want to be thinking about sometimes. I think that's the absolute limit I could go. It's already heavily distorted. This is not a song I'm going to be releasing, so I don't mind too much. Next up, we're going to turn off Unity. Shit, no, we're going to keep on Unity, and I'm going to turn off Mono, and we're going to fuck around with the wide. We're going to bring it all the way up and then dial it down to where we want it to be. it's already very, very, very wide. So what we're going to do is on the entirety of the duct, so all the synths, we're going to put bass mono, and I'm going to play it and increase and decrease this dial to where it sounds good. There we go, because there we've got the rumble still got space. That's a good place. And finally, we can turn off Unity. So this is the true volume of this whole thing. It might be a bit loud, and we can do a before and after. Let's do it from over here. Before mastering. There we go. No transitions, no, absolutely nothing, but it's done. We don't need to release it, and it's done. I also would like to finish this video.
Or vice versa. This is very similar to the tilt filter in Slick EQ Gentleman's Edition, except that, like all EQ bands in Slick EQ-M, it uses a parallel algorithm.
Parallel algorithm. Fantastic. So I can drag this
two other modes,
frosted into unreleased,
which can produce a more aggressive,
there we go.
forward-sounding mix.
Not to say that I'm going to be releasing it, but it is to say that I can put it there. Okay, I don't care for this meta filter. EQ bands, no. Steps. Okay, okay. I want to know about this pink noise situation. Where's this pink noise situation? Brother. Don't get me demonetized. I don't think I'm monetized already, to be honest with you. Hey, it's cheaper at Plugin Boutique, eh? No. It said $19. I thought, okay, but hey, free delivery at least. It's an online sort of thing. All right, that's fine. Introduction to Slick EQ by Dan Worrell is different. Introduction to Smart Operation, buddy. Okay, yes, I am human. Come on. Let's just search pink. Okay, matches your audio to a pink noise reference curve. Give it a try. I sometimes prefer the outcome to matching to a reference curve, especially on a full mix. For sure, often works great to match pink and dial back the range to 40%. What the match pink do? And does anyone recommend it as opposed to match reference? Match pink. A pink noise reference curve. Give it a try. Yeah, often works great. Thank you. As far as I know, blah, blah, blah. When using the CI, I often try to use a match ref like pink and use the auto together with the saturated gear. Is there a place to go? Okay. Generally speaking, I don't do anything on the master channel in terms of EQing. So this is just for the reference. I don't know if it's worth getting it just for that reference. Hey, that sounded like something. No, different synth. Okay. Match pink. Where are you? Okay, match pink. Match pink. I don't see a match pink option here. Buddy. Buddy.
And turn. Metafilter also provides two other modes, however.
Okay.
Hardness controls a complex EQ curve, which can produce a more aggressive, forward-sounding mix when turned up.
Boosting around 100, so that's bass and okay, so this is a kick and like main synth vocals. It's not too bad. There's like a disco smile, yeah.
Or a softer, smoother mix when turned down.
Literally Munson, Fletcher Munson curve inverted. Yeah, this is nice.
This curve matches the frequency response of human hearing at low volume levels.
That is cool to be able to. That's actually, this might be worth buying just for that. To be honest,
gives us the opposite response. It shows the low and high frequencies that you are less sensitive to. And two. Okay, let's move on to the 6 EQ bands.
Where is this pink noise thing? Command F, pink. Nobody talks about pink noise. Why does nobody talk about pink noise? Okay, let's try this last video.
Hi guys.
Nope.
Layout, but what this offers is more of a, I'm going to go over for you guys.
Come on, tell me about pink noise.
Using Slick EQ lets you adjust your mix to that. So I'm just going to EQ to a here. We can then say stop and we can action that and we can do match pink, and it's going to make the best it can using the tools it's got available, so the different parameters at the bottom here and the tilt to balance it to a mix to a pink curve. So
okay, this is interesting. Also, I've got to pause it right now so that I can talk and interrupt the video so that it doesn't give me a warning on YouTube. This is really interesting because I thought it was actually going to just have this blue line show us where the pink noise is, but it sounds like it's going to actively do it.
So match pink. That gives that. Now that looks quite extreme, but the most extreme dip here is sort of just going below the 3 mark, so it's not as drastic.
5 decibels, 4 or 5 decibels is still quite
as it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not too crazy.
And that now sounds like this. Now I feel it's been a little bit harsh and cut out a little bit too much low end, so I would maybe just adjust.
And then you can just dial that down. That's good.
This ever so slightly. So this is like the tilt setting here. I would maybe just bring that around there instead, just to bring a little bit back in. And you see it's dipped out a different location instead, and hopefully that's not going to be too much there. If it is, we've got this 93 here that's also dipped out, and that might be able to help us out. There you go. So I like that real.
Okay, so it does it itself. I don't want it to do it itself. Okay, let's see. Load reference file. See, I don't want that to be the case. I want it to just have a line on the analyzer. That's it. That's all I need. God damn it. God damn it. All right. Another day, another dollar. All right. See you.